All right, so thank you for joining us. This is October's town hall to give you an update from the board's perspective, things that are going on. And are we online? Okay, great. So, Reverend Tim, would you come up and grace us with a connection?
Yes. Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thank you. I just invite those of us who are online and those of us who are here in person to take a deep breath. We center into the presence. We're so grateful for this presence of spirit, the presence of love, the presence of peace that permeates and fills this space. We bless this meeting, our leadership. We bless our initiatives. We bless our ohana. We are so grateful as we build this beloved community. We give thanks, God, for your presence. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Tim. Today we do not have a projector, and so one of our intern has graciously printed out copies of the slides. So if you don't have one, there's a couple more copies left up here. And with that said, to shift to the okay, shift to the first slide, if you would. Mm-hmm. Is it going out? I'm online and I'm not seeing anything. It's just. Oh, never mind. I've got quite a long, extensive delay, so it does show up. So the first slide is our Unity of Church of Hawaii guiding principles and agreements, and I cover one of these every time we have a town hall. And our number 4 agreement is that we value humor, respect, listening, safety, and appreciation. And I thought about this as I added it. And humor, we think of making jokes, but it really is much more than that. It's a lightness of heart. It's a sense that we're all okay. It's a sense that no matter what goes on, we can smile and work our way through it. Respect and listening, those are two aspects that we listen and we hear. We don't just listen. Safety, we value the needs and the desires and the wants of everyone here, which is to ensure that this is a place that is safe for you. And finally, appreciation. That is an acknowledgement of the value that each of us have and that each of us bring to each other. So, the next slide. So our board news is that our town halls now happen quarterly. October, that's this one, which is the same time as our annual celebration of our church's birthday, if you will. January, right after the holidays, so we can talk about the wonderful time we had singing and laughing and joyous throughout the festive period of time. April, which is a month after our board meeting, so we can meet new board members and talk about our way ahead. And then July, when we can celebrate independence, because for each of us, that's something different. The next item on that list is the Endowment Foundation. Now, we have an endowment that has over $2 million in it now, and that is intended to perpetuate this church, to help us through. We never know what's going to happen for us, but there are those who have left us stuff. But the thing is, they have entrusted us that we will do the best we can with the goods, with their valuables that they left for us, to ensure that Unity Church of Hawaii will always be here. We got our first distribution. Yes, sir. Yes.
Is it $2 million in cash or investments?
No,
or
it's
is it hard assets like real estate?
So we do not maintain real estate, and the reason for that is because of the cost of trying to manage it, et cetera. So we will liquidate those things. Some of it has come in stocks. They'll get transitioned into stocks that fit our portfolio, because our portfolio consists of those things that meet our mission. We don't have hard assets. We've got liquid assets.
I just want to say something on that. We had the pleasure of meeting with the people who were investing this. Is it Smith Barney?
Say what?
Who is it? Morgan Stanley.
Yes.
And they had all the different screens that would go along with our values. So this was a process with them of deciding, what stocks we would have to hold that money in the foundation. It was really wonderful.
Yeah. Everything that we do, we measure against our mission statement to ensure that we're acting in accordance with what this church would have us do. And we do receive a distribution from that. We just received our first distribution, which was $9,642. So we'll be receiving a distribution every quarter from that endowment. Okay. Next item, Christmas trolleys are going to be here on December 8th. We'll be joining in partnership with the school. They'll be out first. Say what?
December 12th.
Uh-oh. The 12th, okay. So, December 12th. And then also ongoing, we have a committee that's working with the best use of our church facilities as we come out of COVID, and the school and the church are changing some space together. We have a group that's looking at what is going to match, once again, our mission moving forward and how we can best utilize that space. So that's going to be an ongoing process. We have audiovisual upgrades that are underway. We're going to see some improvements. Well, actually, you're going to see some changes in how our lighting is, how our cameras operate, and how our boards work. It's going to be an exciting time. And then the facility committee is also working with us, to walk around the campus. COVID was a hard time for this church. It sat pretty much dormant for a long time, and so we're playing catch up in getting our facilities back to where we would like them to be. Well, we have ways to go, so if you're at all inclined to want to help out, our dark angel over here is the one you'll be talking to. And finally, I want to point out that one of the things that I was remiss as president was I did not ensure that our board minutes and financials were available to everyone. And we have changed that process now, and we're establishing some procedures to ensure that that information is available to everybody. So if you went looking for them and you didn't see them, I apologize for that. Okay, next slide. So this is our treasurer's report. And so hold on a second. Hi. I am your standing in treasurer today. We are the beloved community. The key to abundance is meeting limited circumstances with unlimited thoughts. That we can surely see things beyond the limitations that we sometimes set for ourselves. I had someone just talking to me a few minutes ago who said, Jerry, my life is really great when I just get out of my way. And I thought to myself, how often I've heard myself say that to me. But the same is true for us as a community in looking at our finances. So in July, that's the next slide, which looks like this. We submitted our to the Kakao Maui Fund supporting efforts for the fires, and that was a rather extensive contribution, donation, if you will. It was our tithe. We had a very generous tithe of stocks and bonds. Thank you. Stocks that came to us, and so we tithed off that to the Maui. So we felt that it was the most appropriate place for us to give. And then in August, we donated to Nakama Kai, which is connecting Keiki to the Kai and the Aina to ensure a deeper sense of aloha. And then in September, we donated to our sister, our sister ministry in Windward. So we donated to Windward Community. So our next one, talking about our revenues for July, August, and September. I need stronger glasses for this one. I love getting old. It really beats the options. Okay, revenues. We're looking at a three-month period here, July, August, and September. And we see that we had, in July, we had income of $60,000 and expenses of $36,000. That was when we received that very generous donation. August, we had income of, hard to read this quite, 37. We were in the brackets there. We were short about $6,500, and then in September we had income of 12 and 15 is 27, and then we were in the brackets of 10,000. So the bottom line is the cumulative for January through September. Go to the next one if you will, because I think this is really more telling. Is our net revenues were $306,988. Our total expenses were $327,000. So for the first 9 months of 2023, we had a net operating revenue of we were short about $36,000, about 10%. So our work with our reserve funds has enabled us to stay operating and healthy. Thanks to all of you who have donated for that. We just want you to be aware that's what our numbers are currently. So the next slide. There we go. Is our actual reserve fund, and this shows you that our reserve fund. We had $27,726 come in as thank you for your generosity for that letter requesting your assistance. And we currently have in that account $43,087. The intention of the reserve account is money that's in a restricted account that is accessible when we need it. But what the intent is, though, rather than just simply writing checks, we give conscious consideration to how we're utilizing these funds, which makes us not just write checks without thinking about it. Our intent is to always be mindful of our financial status. Any questions on a reserve fund or our finances? Okay, now I have, yes, Cindy.
That included the 9,000 quarterly distribution from the stocks. These figures are not.
Yeah, the income from the endowment foundation didn't start until October. So the information that you're looking at is up until September.
Okay, now you saw me do that transition just a minute ago to the treasurer. Hold on. I am now channeling my inner Cindy.
So I was curious. So I guess we operated as as a loss for the last couple of months, right?
That's correct.
And so I was curious, how was that, I guess, debt finance? Was it through credit, or did you use the reserve funds to pay?
We're utilizing. Thank you for the clarification. We utilize the reserve fund to cover those negative times, if you will, those times when we don't have as much revenue as we do expenses. And that's the purpose of the reserve account, is so that when those times happen, that we can have those funds available to take care of that. We have a budget, and we work against our budget as best we can, but a budget is a guideline, and it helps us alert to where we might be able to make some changes or where we're seeing some surplus. We don't always know what those are going to be until after the fact when we can look back at it. That's what the reserve fund does, is it provides us with the funds on hand to keep working and to be able to continue to open the doors and keep the lights on.
I guess
Debbie, is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, essentially the deficit or the shortfall that we see is income less expense. So we do have money in bank accounts, in our checking account, as well as our restricted account, that allows us to continue to operate, but it makes us mindful as we watch the finances to know that we're actually spending more than the money that we're taking in.
Got it. And I guess the other thing that I just saw was was it from July to now, there was it went from $60,000 to $12,000.
Correct.
I guess what's the explanation behind that?
And that's the explanation, is every month we're in a shortfall situation. So that shortfall is
pretty
eating
significant.
up our checking account.
So the 1 month you're talking about, July, where you saw $60,000, that was the month that we had a very generous donation.
Got it.
Okay, and that's why that month was different from the other months. The other months have been pretty average, pretty typical of how we've been functioning.
Okay.
But we did have that generous donation that really helped us out as far as having the funds on hand.
Cool.
That's
Thank
why
you.
that month was different.
Okay. Thank you.
I just want to ask about the expenses. Since prices have gone up, so like the utilities or taxes that we have to pay, is that part of the expenses, the reason why the expenses have gone up?
I don't know that I could say there's any one single thing, but our expenses have increased. We're still working on getting, we're rebuilding, and in rebuilding, we're providing programs to fulfill our mission. And sometimes in providing those programs, it takes a while for them to kick in enough to bring in the people, to bring in the revenue. So this is still a rebuilding period for us.
Okay, thank you.
Reverend Tim, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
I had to. So there's numerous things, We brought back musicians, so that's an additional expense. And we also needed our staff were greatly underpaid according to standard where we live. And it's not like they make a tremendous amount now, but we upgraded salaries. And as Jerry was saying, there are programs and things that we're doing. So it's something that we continue to monitor and look at. We look at what is it that fits our mission? What is it that we are really about? So we're investing in areas that are really about our mission. And soon, it's not going to be right away, but beginning of next year probably, you'll be hearing more about something called the Evolutionary Council. The Evolutionary Council will, first of all, have a group of people that will interview all of us who are part of this congregation, in person if possible, but also those online, to hear our stories of transformation. How has unity provided and assisted us in our transformation process? Because that's integral to our mission, that we are here to transform lives. And also to inspire people to make a positive difference in our world. So we're going to assess how are we doing in terms of helping people to transform, how we are doing, help you transform. How are we doing in terms of inspiring you or others to make a positive difference in this world? So that's the first part of the Evolutionary Council. After that, there's a second part, and that is based on our mission and based on the feedback that we get from people about what is helping to transform lives. What do we need to do operationally? What do we need to change operationally? So then we have an operational audit. And I don't mean, yeah, we have an audit and so forth of our finances, but I'm talking about an operational audit. What are we doing that is an energy leak? What are we doing that fits our mission? What are things we need to be doing, and what are things that we need to take out? So that will help us also in balancing our budget, at least that's what I believe, when we focus everything on our mission. I hope that helps. That's a little more information on it.
Thank you, Reverend Tim. Okay, back to channeling my inner Cindy. Cindy Hensley, our treasurer, and she has an explanation here, but she left me a note that she wants me to pass on. This is a note from your treasurer. I don't think I'm going to do this half the justice that she could, but just pretend. Use your imagination. Aloha from the Oregon coast, Unity Ohana. I leave you in good hands today with our board president, Jerry Denton, who can answer any questions you may have. Yeah, right. As well as our wonderful assistant secretary, treasurer, Hinano Ray. However, I wanted to come in with a personal note to say a huge thank you to all those who donated to our reserve fund in response to the letter that was sent out to our members in early June. As you'll see in today's Treasury report, our reserve fund as of 1 October is currently sitting at $43,087.10. I also want to take this moment to make a humble apology that I have not gotten letters of great thanks out to each of you individually. I've been traveling quite a bit over the past several months, and I'm still finding my way around this sacred service position as treasurer. I have a letter in draft, and I'm just tuning it up and will be mailed out to you within the next 2 weeks. I would say 1 week, but I'm in Oregon right now without much in the way of internet or a printer. I'll be realistic and say 2 weeks. Please be on the lookout that in your mailbox, no, not your email box, in your physical mailbox, a letter. Who doesn't love to get a real letter in the mail these days? It's such a novel idea. Also, on a more global note, I'm so grateful for each one of you for your abundant consciousness. We have indeed a beloved community, and we are the ones we've been waiting for. If you've been thinking to yourself recently, darn, I really wanted to give to that reserve fund, the good news is you still can. If you were thinking to yourself, oh, it's almost the end of the year, giving time. Indeed, you are correct, and we at Unity Church would be honored to sit at the seat of receiving any year-end gifts you might want to give. Don't forget, this is a great tax write-off. Speaking of taxes, Let's talk stocks, bonds. Should you desire to make an end-of-year donation, the giving of appreciated stocks is a great idea and serves as a double edge to the donor. You can claim the entire value of the stock donation, and 2, you do not have to pay income tax on the appreciated value. And to top it off, the church, which is a nonprofit, does not have to pay any income tax on the appreciated value either. It's a win-win for everyone, except maybe the IRS. Okay, beautiful Ohana, that's it for me for now. I'm happy to say I'll see you soon in person, 1 week from today, when I'll be back in the land of Aloha. Until then, many blessings and riches of love and light abound. Love, Cindy. Yes.
So I hear all these ways that we can donate. What about crypto?
What else is there?
Yeah, I mean, do cryptocurrency. Like, I think that it would be wonderful for us to look into, as we evolve more into cryptocurrencies, and to see if there may be members or people that have assets that would like to donate some crypto to this beautiful church, Ohana.
I think that's something for our finance committee and perhaps even our endowment foundation to look at.
Yeah.
Because I think both of them could apply to that. I don't have an answer to that, but I don't see there's any reason that we can't expand our thoughts and broaden our arms for more opportunity.
Amen. It's like electronic currency. It's like Bitcoin, and I mean, it's the new way to give. I mean, you can even pay for a pizza with Bitcoin if you wanted to. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, we do have a Q&A. Okay. Okay, next slide says mission and vision. Just want to remind us that centered in God, we transform lives and inspire people to make a positive difference in our world. And that is the standard by which we operate all church functions at the board level. And we hope it's true for everybody at all levels. But that's what the board uses for its determination of what our next right action is. And our vision is centered in God. We elevate global consciousness through the realization of oneness. Let's chat. Q&A. I bet there's a question out there somewhere.
So you had 2 questions.
Yeah. 2 questions. And so the first one was, what happens if the reserve fund goes to 0? I guess if you operate at a loss and the reserve fund is 0, then what happens? Do you have to extend a new line of credit?
We have, in the past, we have taken some drastic action by taking out loans in the past. That's not something we want to do. We really believe that we can find the means to not deplete that reserve fund. We don't, for example, the endowment. All right, and there was a time when we just borrowed from the endowment fund. That's not something that's what we do anymore, because the endowment, we need to leave that intact so that it can, in fact, sustain us long term. However, okay, it's not to say we can't, but that's not just necessarily a decision for our board alone. The endowment foundation has got its own board, and we would work in congruence with them if something that desperate were necessary. We have $2 million. Okay, I do not believe that we would allow the church to fold while we still have $2 million in the bank. I don't believe that to be true. Okay, but I can't say that with any authority without the agreement of our board and the endowment foundation board.
Okay, well, and so I guess I'm just looking at the numbers from January to September. if there wasn't that generous gift of $40,000 or $50,000, like we'd be upside down.
We would. We would be having challenging times. That's an accurate statement.
Because the entire reserve fund would have been consumed.
I think that's a reasonable way to look at it. That is. I believe that my experience, I've been around this church for a long time, and my experience is that we have found ways to ensure the doors stay open and that we keep operating. They're not always comfortable, but we have found ways to make that happen. It's our I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for the whole board. I'm only one of 9 votes.
Okay.
All right, but I can speak for myself to say that we would do everything necessary to keep our church running. And I don't know what all that entails. I have the blessing of having 8 other creative minds to help me find ways to make things work. I'm only one of 9 votes.
Okay. And since I have the mic, I'll just ask one last question.
Okay.
And then I'll be quiet. I guess I was just curious about overall membership. Are the numbers going up? Or are they going down? I guess the question is as we think about donations, I guess how does that correlate from a ratio standpoint between members and donations? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
It does. No, that's a very good question too.
It does. Thank you. So Kenny and others, if any of you come to the community member orientation, which you were at last Sunday, one of the things we describe is that we are all responsible for supporting this beloved community. And so with that membership system of coming in as a community member, which one is a community member essentially for a year, and then one is eligible to become a governing member. But when someone becomes a community member, they are asked 4 yeses. One of the yeses is to, according to your means, according to your ability, to help support this beloved community that supports all of us. I stated that, when this was figured about a year ago, that per person, per month, it takes about $250 per person per month. But not everyone can pay at that level. And so what we say yes to is, yes, I am willing to do what I'm able to do. So we're building into the membership system, and we've had, just totaling it in my mind, probably about 9 or 10 new community members this year who have said yes, they will support this community at the level that they are able to. With our membership renewals, that's for those who are already governing members. Many of you have been members here for a long time, voting members, can hold position on the board and so forth. On your renewal forms that have been emailed out to you, and if you have not seen it and you are a member, please let us know. Let Reverend Johanna know, let me know, because we want to make sure you get that. But on that renewal form, you will have the same 4 yeses that the community members have, which includes saying yes to supporting this beloved community according to your means. So there is a correlation, and that's what we're building. We're building, those 4 yeses are saying yes to sacred service. You're the sacred service coordinator, and Leslie is helping with that. And so people are saying yes to that, saying yes to going deeper in our spiritual life by being in an educational class, a spirit group, that space group that is led part of this church. We're saying yes to holding this beloved community in prayer, and we're saying yes to helping to support this beloved community financially. So it becomes integral. This is the integral model. Integral into membership to help support it. I hope that speaks to your question.
I'm inclined to add something. You know, one of the things, I'll tell about my personal experience. I've been a member of the church a long time, and I've only started recurring giving in the last couple of years. I always liked to write a check, because when I wrote a check, I felt like I was doing something special, that I was honoring the church with and I realized now, I didn't know it then, even when I made the change to recurring giving, that that was pure lack consciousness. That was a transactional relationship with God. That was saying, if you do something for nice, I'm going to do something nice for you. That is a total, and I didn't realize what a lack of faith that was. Since I began recurring giving, the strangest thing has happened. For one, I retired. Now I'm on a fixed income, so I don't have a bunch of money coming in like I did before. But somehow, my checkbook keeps getting bigger. And I don't know what it is, and I don't question it either, because I can accept that when I give, without considering it, it is just part of me to give, that the principle of circulation works, and I receive more than I ever give. And I don't know how it works, I just know that it does for me. So I would offer that recurring giving is the best thing you can do for the church, because it lets us know we can count on every month. Doesn't matter what level you can give at, but if we know we can count on, it's easier to budget and easier for us to continue to finance the operations. If you can't, that's fine too, but that's my experience. My personal experience is that it works for me personally, and I know from working on the board that it works for the church. Any other questions? Yes. Wednesday back there.
Thank you. Going back to what Kenny was saying about the Endowment Foundation, and I understand what you're saying, that, you know, it seems like you're saying that you can't see something not happening. Okay, great. Are we proactively working on some concrete preventative measures, as opposed to, oh no, we're in this dire situation,
No,
what are we going to do?
No, I hear your question. I know you well enough to understand your question. Are we doing anything concrete, anything proactively to ensure that we are going to be healthy financially? Yes, we are.
In conjunction with the Endowment Foundation.
Absolutely. No, we are. In our finance committee meetings every month, actually more frequently than that, we look at where our expenses are and what we might be able to do to help that. In our looking at our space utilization, some of the questions are, how can we balance? Because it's always a question of balance. How can we balance what we want to do to fulfill our mission as compared to what we can do to generate some additional revenue? Sometimes generating revenue is not the best use of our facility, and we lose track of what our mission is, and we end up going somewhere we don't necessarily want to go. So, but the bottom line, to answer your question, is yes, we are. We do have the board's looking at it, the committees are looking at it, the staff's looking at it, everyone's looking at what we can do to reduce our costs while at the same time increasing our perceived value to our members. Not just what we believe is our intrinsic value, but someone walks in the door, they want to see that there's a value here. So part of what we have to do, I believe, is to have a perceived value so that someone walks in here and say, I want to be here. It's not just that Tim gives a great message, but it's that everyone here is a part of what's going on. Everyone here is a part of the growth. Everyone here is a part of the beloved community to welcome people and help them know that they're important. So concrete, can I list 5 things off the top of my head? No, I can't. But I can tell you that I'm not at every committee meeting, but I do know that all of the committees are tasked with finding ways to enhance our financial position as well as maintain our mission. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do want to just address that real quick, because as we open up more and more after the shutdown, we're starting to see the beautiful, just the unique presence that Unity Church of Hawaii, its property and its location has. So we have Reverend Ryan Souza, who is our events kind of just it's called a sexton, but he helps us whenever there are events. So we're getting more and more events here. We're also figuring out space utilization, like Jerry said, to where we can have people host programs while fulfilling our mission with classes and everything in the garden room as we are making that transition from the preschool, having the cottage, and them having just the education building. And then we're looking as a facilities committee to seeing what was the best use of all of that space and still maintaining the opportunity for individuals to either come and have, an event here, space utilization. So we're seeing, I'd say, an increase of 25% of events happening here every single month. We're seeing more and more. We're asking our members, too, as part of this integral ministry, is that each one of us, if you know somebody who's having an event, maybe saying, well, you know what, maybe at Unity Church of Hawaii, we have a courtyard, we have a this, we have a that. Part of being part of this team and this Ohana is, if you see that somebody out in the community has a need, maybe referring them to us so they can have an event here, a class here, or what have you, which also generates income as we move more and more into this integral ministry where, at least our operational expenses are being paid, covered. And then you're going to start to see as we bring these events in here that now we're having the surplus that gets to go into our reserve, and we're not sending out letters saying, can you please help us with our reserve? We're all doing this beautiful part of making sure that Unity Church of Hawaii is that beacon and where you can have classes or an event here. And so that's one of our asks for our members as well. And I wanted to address your question too, Kenny. So as of last year, September, we've had a 100% increase in Sunday attendance. So our Sunday attendance has almost more than doubled, or basically doubled. And then also, and I know that you were looking for members, but we also, people in the community who aren't members do feel to give, whether on a recurring basis or at Sunday service. We did increase our membership. So our membership is going up by at least 9 people this year. I just want to be very direct. So yes, it's increasing, and our attendance is increasing as well. So that is to answer the question that I know was kind of lingering in your mind publicly. Oh, yeah. We used to have 3 services in a week for many, many years.
We had 4 or 5. We had one on Friday nights. We had Wednesday nights. And I want to address something too. And excuse me for interrupting, but there was a time when over half of our income, we had a revenue that was almost double what we had now 20 some years ago. Over half of our revenue was built on Japanese weddings. Now you might think, well, that's fine. And as a businessman, I thought it was a great idea. Okay. But as a spiritual leader, it was fraught with problems because we became slaves to the financial aspect of a business rather than being what we were supposed to be, a spiritual home. So, I would like to say, yeah, let's take in a bunch of stuff that's going to make a bunch of money. It doesn't always work for us, and I've experienced that here.
Yeah, and so would y'all ever consider, because Reverend Johanna, you mentioned a number of different outreach opportunities and such, would you ever consider like having someone, I know that like Sean, there's a number of full-time positions. It sounds like marketing and outreach is something that could or should, because yes, like to your point, like probably doing a bunch of Japanese weddings is probably not in line with the overall kind of mission of Unity. However, I look around, there aren't a lot of people like my age, right? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but when a younger person comes in here, they look around and say, well, is this, I'm just hypothesizing about this. I could be completely wrong. But, they probably say, hey, like, is this for me, right? And so I guess like what I'm saying is perhaps having someone that's focused on this, because I don't think it's like a part-time thing, right? And if it's really going to be serious, and I understand that the church is growing, But if the base is that small, like, if I double 7, it's 14. Who cares, right? And just thinking about where we were, having 3 to 4 services a week, I just have to say that's completely different than what I've seen. So again, I'm new, and so maybe I should just keep my mouth shut. But just some things that I'm thinking about. So.
One thing before you speak, I want to offer that because you're new, you see things that we may not see. You have a more objective viewpoint, and you may also say things that we don't want to hear because we've been sticking our head in the sand, okay? I'm a fat old bald guy. I acknowledge that. I'm not the best person to run with youth, for example, but I worked with our youth here for 21 years. So yeah, we're evolving, and your points were really right on.
So I wish you had been here with Reverend Chad Groverland, our CEO of Unity Worldwide Ministries, because he did address this marketing thing. And we need to realistically look at, first of all, our demographics in the area. Then second of all, what is Unity's message? Who are really compelled to be here? Who really resonate? And what stage of life are they in? Demographically speaking, we're looking at females 55 plus that resonate. Those are not the ones with the kids or what have you. We can also, myself and Reverend Tim just met 3 weeks ago. We had a very robust 3-hour-long conversation about marketing, about what it is and pinpointing that vision, whether it's who we want to see in the not in the pews, what are they called now, seats, or do we honor those that are already in our seats and branch out? So it's going to require maybe more of a team approach instead of, one person now no. We are a team. Integral ministry is about all of us getting together, taking ownership of our community, our spiritual community, not just thinking, the senior minister needs to solve it or the board of trustees, but really this is part of growing as a team and each one of us contributing to the mission, to the success of this community. And as we continue on growing upward, and 9 might not seem like a big deal, but you know what? I celebrate little victories. I celebrate the little wins because in the end, they all add up. Just like bank accounts with pennies, it still will end up being very prosperous. Reverend Tim's going to take over because he knows I like to get on my bandwagon.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate your comments and questions, Kenny, and everyone. The pandemic closed 44% of churches in our country. Closed 44%. It was a challenging time. And so it was an opportunity for churches and spiritual communities to redefine what they're about. When I was here before, at that time, we were having 2 services. We had gone from 3 services to 2. But what I'm excited about is that I see many new people. Now, when I came here on vacation, it will be 2 years ago next month. And I was invited to come here and speak. And I was instructed by leadership, we do not have more than 35 people who come. No matter who speaks, no matter what happens, 35 is the most we have. I said, well, okay, but prepare for more. They said, no, it's just 35. Don't be disappointed. I said, I won't be disappointed, but prepare for more. Anyway, so that Sunday, when I was on vacation and spoke here, we had over 100 people. Now, what we see happening here is a continual building. So we are gaining, there are new people coming, there are new people who see that Unity and its teachings and this beloved community has a real ministry for them, and they want to be part of that. So I do see it growing. I do see it expanding, and I see it as a new day. I believe that you're right. This is an opportunity for us to do outreach and marketing, and as Reverend Johanna said, that, focusing on who is it that we're reaching. lately we are attracting more younger adults than we used to in the past. Also, about half of the people we're attracting are from the LGBTQ community, without us having made that a specific goal. About half of our new people are coming from the LGBTQ community. And so Johanna and I had this robust conversation to talk about who is the demographic that we're currently reaching. So I look forward to further discussions and seeing how we can unfold that.
Thank you, Reverend Tim. Oh, I'll play runner.
I would like to, being that I'm an usher, I would like to see much more of parents bringing their children here, because I remember back in the day, it would be one Sunday that the youth would volunteer. They came up to me and I found out we could have somebody, the younger people volunteer. I would love to see that again, to see the youth volunteering, just handing out, the programs and greeting people. And they were so excited to do that. I remember that. So I would like to see that grow, and I'm going to put it out there in the universe.
Two things. First of all, we had a return from years ago, and the first thing she said to me, what happened to the thrift shop? Well, I'm a thrifter, so I love that shop. And I would ask that you look at those numbers and see if that brought in enough money for you to reconsider it, because that was a wonderful, not only a wonderful draw, but people mingled there and talked and got to know each other. So I'm 100% for that thrift store being rejuvenated. And secondly, I get a lot of mail saying, if you donate however much, there somebody will match that donation, so do it now. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you're getting that
matching funds. If that works, could that be something that we can throw in the kitty?
I would leave that to the finance committee to make that determination. As a board member, I'm only one voice. So matching has worked in the past, but I can't speak to who that would be. Debbie wants to respond to that. Oh, okay. Then Catherine, I think, is next. Is that a yes or a no? Yes. I'm not going to say no, okay? But my yes is I can't say that with any authority. But I think it's all I do is very reasonable, and that one has worked in the past.
I can speak to that, having been on the fundraising committee for the last 3 years. When we did have our big matching grant 3 years ago, we doubled our donations. We went over 100,000. So it does really work. And that brings me to my two quick questions. One is, in terms of if something happened to the church, blah, 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 couldn't we take an equity loan for out of the value of this church, not going into the endowment, but that's what people do. They take a real estate loan on their house.
That's always a possibility. Yeah.
Okay. Now, my big question is, when you sent the letter out from the board, it said, we wanted to raise 60,000. We've raised almost 30. And so my question is, and we've had some other donations, do you still need that other 30 to be in the reserve? Need it? Would you want it? And should we continue to keep open this request for meeting that 60,000 with the with the congregation?
Any goal is just that. It's a goal. I was once asked by my boss. He said, you don't have a quota. I'm going to give you a quota. I was a salesperson. And I said, that means as soon as I hit the quota, I can stop. I don't have to sell anymore. Okay? Well, he didn't like that idea because I always sold way over that number. But the bottom line is, I don't think there's, okay.
Do we
still
need
want the
more?
money? Hold on, want. We're not in a want. Okay, I would like to see us have funds come in that enable us to operate effectively, efficiently, and to enhance our environment. I don't want to think that we're in a want. Okay, I know we're not in need. That's not where we are.
Okay.
All right. Would the funds benefit us? Absolutely. Will we continue to accept them? No question about that.
Are you saying that it's still open?
It's absolutely still open. That's
Okay.
what Cindy's letter said. It was, hey, you know what? Speaking of, thank you for all that you've done. And by the way, end of year is coming. Now is the wonderful opportunity for you to give your end of year donation. One of the things about donating to a reserve fund is it's not glamorous, and you don't feel like your money is going to do something tangible. All right, so it's not like we're putting a new roof on or we're putting new flowers in or something. It's not. So it's not as easy as sell, to be honest with you. It's not. But we thought about that. We had these discussions, and it was determined that look, we need what was important to us at that time was to have the reserve fund in a place to where we could continue to operate. And I didn't want to. Excuse me for saying this, I didn't want to bullshit anybody about what we were doing. I didn't want to do a bait and switch and say, hey, look, give us all this money for this so that we can do this thing over here. That's not who I am. And that's not who our board is either. Okay? But that's sometimes what the perception is that the funds are not used what they say they'll be used for. I want to ensure we have complete transparency, that we do what we say we'll do, and we'll ask for what we actually need. And so it's not glamorous. And so we have not achieved the numbers we'd hoped so far. And we still have some time.
I'll just say, as of last year, we had a goal of raising $50,000 for our savings account to start. Debbie will know this because she asked us for it. And we raised it.
Yep.
We raised, and so that was glamorous in my book.
Yeah.
We love having a savings account. I think everybody. So it can be.
And I want to thank Debbie because Debbie
Yeah.
did great things as our treasurer and started the reserve account for us. And that has empowered us to be able to continue to operate with an open heart and to look forward, not backwards. Anything else?
How about the money? You said something about writing a check made you feel.
Could you hold it up just a little higher, closer to your mouth? I can't hear you.
You didn't like writing checks because it had a negative connotation to you. I like to pay in cash so you don't have to pay the credit card choices. That's a couple bucks, I think.
And I agree with that rationale and that philosophy. I carry cash in my pocket for that very reason. I don't like paying someone's bank charges. I want that person I give that money to have that same buying power that I had when I had it in my hand. I'm a firm believer in that too. And I was just speaking to my practice of not doing recurring giving because I had this crazy thought that somehow I was making a deal with God, which was not accurate. I was making a deal, all right, but it wasn't benefiting either of us. Anything else? 101. Well, thank you for this. You guys have been really great, and I really appreciate the questions. So, Kenny, keep them coming, okay? I don't doubt that. I like that about you. So now, if we would, let's circle up and close with our Weave song. We know what it is.
Wants to be on mic. You want to be on mic for the live stream?
Johanna, close us with a quick prayer.
All right, everyone. Let us connect hand in hand, heart to heart. Look around this beautiful chapel. I'll look at all the people on live stream as well. They're there somewhere, and we feel you here as well. We are bringing you into this circle. As we give great thanks, God, for today's meeting, you know that we know that you continue to bless and prosper us. Even though it may not appear in this now moment, we know that it is already on Unity Church of Hawaii's path. We say thank you, God, for this ministry, the leadership, the congregation, the community. As you continue to propel us forward, we lean on you even more. We say thank you, God, for your wisdom, for your prosperity, and of course, for your connection. And so it is. Amen, amen.
Thank you. You know the song? Weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Thank you all. Thank you.